Hey guys, first video of this series. So what we got, 11-point buck. Definitely on the younger side, but it was an awesome hunt back opening day of archery season up in Tennessee. So harvested this guy off of my family farm up in Tennessee with a buddy. We actually ended up filming it. So drop a comment if you want to see that hunt posted as well. Be happy to include that. But made it through the season, right? Basically took him back in August, and then we cut off the skull plate. So he's been sitting like this about the past, I don't know, 4 to 5 months, right? So it's now end of March. Want to get him cleaned up now that I have a little bit of time on my hands right before turkey season starts. So we got a little bit of fur left around the base of the antlers. I've done 1 Euro mount before, but never done anything with a skull mount like this, or not a skull mount, but you know what I'm talking about, where it's just the skull plate and we'll put a little felt cap or something over it. So let me walk y'all through the materials that we're going to use today to get this thing boiled and cleaned up, and then we'll go through the whitening process later on, and then eventually on to building a full mount for this and kind of some cover for this cap, and then it'll end up as a wall piece. Alright, so this is going to be everything we're going to need for the first round of this project. We got our antlers and skull plate over here. We're going to use the same process I did on a Euro mount earlier this season. It turned out really well, so I'm hoping we'll get the same results on this. Again, this is my first time doing this, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. We got a propane burner. This is a camp style stove. You really don't need anything that's fancy. Just get the cheapest thing at Academy. All we're trying to do is be able to boil a pot of water. I'm doing it outside because I don't want to stink up my house, and doing it in the yard just to avoid any stains on the concrete. But whatever works for you. If you want to do it over fire, that works well. We're just going to be able to do like a rolling, or not even rolling, just a small simmer on it. We're not going to boil this too long. The skull can get super brittle if you boil it too long, so we'll just be careful about it. Tops an hour in the boiling water. Next thing is going to be some Dawn dish soap. I read online that the platinum stuff works best. That's what I use on the Euro mount. We're just going to use the regular dish soap because that's what I had lying around. That's going to be for the first boil. The second boil, we're going to use some baking soda. So this is just the regular Arm & Hammer baking soda. It's $1 at Home Depot. It's not bad there. And then just a pretty good sized pot. Really all you're looking to be able to do is submerge your skull entirely. So this one will actually get down pretty far, and we'll probably use some like oven mitts or something just to keep these antlers off the pot, to prevent them from burning. So let me get this all set up and we'll circle back and show y'all the boiling process. Okay, so I think I got everything we need for our first boil. I had to get a little creative on how to hold the skull in the pot. So what I ended up doing was I actually grabbed a rock from my yard, just to get the right angle. We're going to try to avoid to keep the antlers out of the water as much as possible. Like the base is going to have to stick in there some, but I'm worried about having too much of them in there and just bleaching the color out of them. So I'll show you all a close-up after we get this going, but I'll get this lit. We'll fill this up with water, and then I'm probably gonna put, I don't know, like probably it's gonna end up being about like 4 to 8 ounces of soap in there. I mean, we just want it soapy. Really, this is just gonna help pull out a lot of that grease from the skull. So we'll get this going, and then I'll circle back. Alright, so a little close up, we got the stove going. Basically this skull is just sitting on a rock within the pot itself. So you can see like the base of the antlers are barely underneath the water. Hopefully once the soap dies down, I'll be able to give you all a better view. And then I just got the oven mitt sitting on the side of the pot, protecting the antlers just from the heat. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this up to a slight simmer. As soon as we hit that point, I'm going to back down the heat, and then we'll roll there for about 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll check it at that point. Alright guys, so we just hit the about perfect simmer in my opinion. So we'll kind of come in close real quick. So you see, like, it's really not much of a boil, it's just a few bubbles coming up, and that's really all we're looking for. So we'll let this go for probably about 10-15 more minutes. I'll pull it out, check, see how things are coming off. All we're trying to do is loosen up that membrane and skin. So we'll circle back in about 10-15 minutes and see how it's doing. So it's been about probably 10-15 minutes since we hit this simmer that we wanted. So let's pull it out, check it, and we'll see how this hide is looking. We really just want to try to soften everything up. Get it to a point it'll pull off easily. So I got a pair of needle nose pliers. I'm just gonna reach around these antlers here. Yeah, so I can tell it's already softening up quite a bit. Let's see if we can grab. Yeah. All right. So I think we're at the perfect spot at this first boil. So what I'm gonna do now is, with a combination of pliers and spraying it off with the hose, basically we're just going to try to work all of this off. It's going to take a little time, but we'll be able to get it there. It's going to look much cleaner. So I'll do this and circle back and show you how it looks after this. Alright, so just finished picking the skull plate after the first boil, and it's looking much better. I don't know if he really shows that well on camera, but all of the hide and fur around the antler bases is off. Got a lot of the membrane around the bone off. So we're gonna empty the pot out, get going on the second boil. This time I'm gonna put that entire box of baking soda in the water, fill it up, and then we'll get that to the same simmer. I'll probably let it go for about 20-30 minutes this time once we hit that simmer. And then what we're going to do after is bring it inside to the kitchen sink, go through it with a soft bristle brush, and do the final cleaning, and then we'll go through the whitening process. Stay tuned. So I forgot to mention earlier, if you're having trouble getting that membrane or skin off, try using a boning knife. So I just have this flexible Victorinox boning knife. It's like 20 bucks on Amazon. Super nice knife. I use this for all of my butchering too, but this helps a lot getting those membranes off, and you can kind of get into the nooks and crannies. Just be super careful with it. So we just got the second boil going. We got the baking soda in there. We'll leave this going, same simmer as earlier, and we'll check back in about 30 minutes. So we just hit the 25-minute mark. I think we're at a good spot. So I'll show you the way I tell. We're gonna take this thing inside, do the final cleaning on it, and then we'll let it dry overnight before whitening. So what it's looking like is that if you hold it up, you can kind of see this membrane all over the bone. This is when it's starting to peel back. So as soon as that starts to happen, we should be good. And with cleaning, we'll be able to release all of this. So let's take it inside and see where we get. Alright, so we're going to do the final cleaning on this. Basically all it is, man, we're just going to work around it, try to peel off this membrane as much as possible. I know this can be kind of nasty, but really the easiest way is just to get in there and get after it. So I'm going to work on this, and I'll show you what it's like by the time it's over. Alright, so we got to do a good spot tonight. We're going to let this rest overnight. We're going to let it dry out probably for about 24 hours, maybe really just after, until I get off of work tomorrow. We're going to go into the whitening process next. Even though this isn't a full Euro mount, I mean, the cleaning process is important because you don't want any funk on there that's going to rot over time and give you any bad smells. But then we're going to whiten it tomorrow night. That's probably not necessary because a lot of this is going to be covered up. I just want to make sure in the finished mount that if any of this bone is exposed, it looks really clean. So we'll go through that. I'm just going to hang this up in the garage overnight, but I will catch y'all in the next episode and we'll go through the whitening process. Thanks for joining in.